Here we go. Okay, so welcome to the last day of Teacher Prep 2021. I can't even remember how long this event has been happening, five, 6 or so years. And we always look forward to seeing everybody, and we always have great attendance from all of you. So I hope that you've been able to get something over the last 2 days, and that you get something good today to take with you into the new school year. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Can I ask somebody in the chat to help me be my chat monitor? Because I might miss a question or something, and then you could unmute and let me know that I need to pause. Can somebody volunteer? Because it's hard to monitor and go through the presentation.
I'll help you with that, Briana.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. You can just unmute and say there's a question, because sometimes I just get going and I'll forget. Good morning. I'm gonna put these in here one more time. Okay. Okay, so welcome to So You Want to Try Eduprotocols.
Hey, so yesterday I attended
There's somebody in the hub.
Classroom with Juan.
Hold on one second.
But no one.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, so if you don't know about Eduprotocols, Eduprotocols is a book there is a couple books that were written by Marlena and John Carippo. So at the end of this, if you're interested in Eduprotocols, I highly suggest going on Amazon and ordering the books. So there's the first book, the Eduprotocol Field Guide, and then they have a second field guide, and they also have an Eduprotocols math specific book. So sometimes I know we talk about strategies and the math teachers often get left out. But there is also an Eduprotocol field guide for math teachers that they've taken a bunch of the Eduprotocols and made them mathy so that you math folks don't get left out. And then I just also wanted to point out that over the summer at CIA Week, your lovely ed techs were at work learning about Eduprotocols, and we had John Carippo, the guy in the first square, the author of the book, come and give us a presentation on some of the protocols. So that was also very, very fun. So Eduprotocols, they are instructional lesson frames that are designed to engage students in learning through critical thinking, collaboration, communication, and creativity, right? Our 4 C's. And Eduprotocols can be used with any subject and at any grade level. So if you can't think of how something can be used, like if I talk about something like a cyber sandwich or a Frere model, and you don't know how that can be used in your content, if you're somebody that uses Twitter or has teacher Facebook groups, if you search in any of those, you'll find Eduprotocols for your subject and grade level. So Eduprotocols were designed to support all learners, and they're created with UDL in mind. So you can always, amp up or bring down the rigor to meet students' needs. They are pedagogically sound practices that embody the elements of Madeline Hunter and her lesson design. So you may have learned about Madeline Hunter's lesson design in your credential programs or in other PDs that you've been in. It's kind of like our GRR, Madeline Hunter. So all Eduprotocols are designed to provide formative assessment, right? Immediate formative assessment so that you can give immediate feedback to your students so that they can have repetition, right? Because we know that as students repeat and practice, right, they get better. And when they have feedback and they repeat, they get better. So each of them you'll see is a formative assessment that has embedded feedback, quick feedback, on-demand feedback, and then they're supposed to be done in multiple reps. So your Eduprotocols, you're supposed to be getting your reps in. Okay? And one thing that we do know is the forgetting curve, right? Is that the more times that you do something, the more you remember that, right? So here's our little forgetting curve that you've probably seen before. The red one is if you do something once, by the 6th day, you've forgotten it, right? And as you do things more and more and more, you forget them less and less and less. So that's one reason why it's important to have repetition. And so Eduprotocols focus on getting in your, what they call reps. Also, just quickly wanted to point out that this image came from a book on education policy, and it shows us the cost of education and our scores. Right? So what you notice is that the cost has risen, but our reading, math, and science scores have stayed the same. So clearly we're doing something wrong. So Eduprotocols are one way to get students engaged and practice their learning over and over and over. A couple other things I want to point out before we get into the meat is some information about this guy, Dr. Sunny Magana, and also Hattie, if you've ever read any of John Hattie's books. They have similar research in the impact of educational strategies and just other, like depression and other things, and how that affects students' learning. So most of his research is in educational technology. And so what he found is that EdTech has a 0.34 effect on learning. Research shows that a 0.40 effect on learning is the average learning throughout the year. So if anything has a larger effect than 0.4, that is like very good, right? So anything that we do that has larger than 0.40 is shown to have a large effect, because a 0.40 is like the baseline for learning throughout the school year. So his research shows that EdTech has a 0.34, right, which is lower than a 0.40. So I want to point out the importance of, like, we get invested in technology tools, or we think things are really cool, and so we do them, but are we really taking a step back and thinking about how does our pedagogy and this technology that we want to use inform our practice, right? How does it enhance our lesson? Are we not just using it because we want bells and whistles? So thinking always pedagogy first and technology second. So are my students learning? Can I be more effective? And can I be more efficient? Right? Then embedding the technology to help us meet those pieces. I think sometimes we get excited about technology and we want to use it and we think it'll engage students, but we may not be thinking about the pedagogy first, or where it might fit the best in our lessons. So you're going to see that many of these Eduprotocols, they can be done on paper and pencil, and they can also be done with technology to make the lesson more effective and efficient for the teachers and the students. So that's my little blurb before we get into the fun stuff. So you'll notice at this presentation at the very top, it looks like a little binder. So we are going to, in the next 2 hours, talk about Fast and Curious, which is a Eduprotocol. We're going to talk about Frayer, which is an Eduprotocol, Thin Slides, Random Emoji, 8 Parts, and the Cyber Sandwich. So these are just some of my favorite that I've picked out of the Eduprotocol field guides, but there are so many. There is dozens of other Eduprotocols to choose from. So we're just going to be hitting on, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of my favorites in the next 2 hours, and you're going to have a chance to go in breakout rooms and to practice these Eduprotocols. And then I'm going to provide you with a bunch of resources. So like I said earlier, I'm going to paste this in here one more time for the sign-in and the slides. You might want to open those slides and add them to your drive or make a copy of them, because there are lots of links that you'll be able to go back to and steal from, right? As teachers, it's really great to not have to reinvent the wheel, take something that somebody else did and modify it to fit your need, and then we always give back, right? We always make things and give back. It's just how our profession works. So Fast and Curious. So Fast and Curious is a strategy that you can use to gain back teaching time, fast and curious, to introduce or master vocabulary, basic facts, or anything that you're teaching. I moved my thing, now I'm over here. Okay. So you're also going to notice that throughout this presentation, there is like a yellow dialog box at the bottom, and these are quotes from actual students, from teachers who have tried these Eduprotocols. So the Fast and Curious, right, is like a quiz that you can use throughout your lesson, and you can repeat it over and over and over and over again so that students master the content. So some students have said that they like it because there's competition and they try to beat their friends. They like learning from their mistakes and trying to get it right the next time. They can play with their classmates, which is better than taking a paper quiz or test. And it shows them, even if they get it wrong, that they can get the right answer eventually. So think of Fast and Curious as all of these different online quiz tools that we've used, that many of you have probably used, like Quizzes and Quizlet and Gimkit and Socrative and Kahoot, and then the booklet. I'm curious, I've been seeing it all over and I haven't tried it, and I wasn't able to go to the session yet on Monday or yesterday, but I do want to watch the video. So I'm also curious about this booklet, because people say it's kind of like Kahoot. So that's another one. So like I'm seeing someone saying that it's fantastic. So Fast and Curious is really about introducing material, reviewing material, fast and curious, and being able to do it over and over and over and over again. I think often when I think back about being in the classroom, I remember when Kahoot first came out and I was like, Kahoot, Kahoot, and I was using Kahoot all the time. But I might have been using like a different Kahoot every time. And when I saw Fast and Curious, it showed me that I could be using the same Kahoot multiple times in order to get more reps in for students to remember the material. So we are going to practice and we are going to play a mythology quiz. So hopefully you brushed up on your mythology. So I'm going to go ahead and start a live quiz. Oh, wait, not what I want to do. I'm going to start a live quiz and I'm going to ask you to join. Let's get it started here. So you are going to go to joinmyquiz.com, enter our game pin. Copy this link and put it in here for you. Oh, it was canceled. That's a bummer. Well, I'll do my research and then maybe Jen and I can do a booklet something this year. Now that I've finished my doctorate, I'm gonna have so much free time. I have 4 years of not free time. So let's see, I got some people joining. How many people do we have in here? I've got about 30 people in here. So I'll wait to start it. I'll give you another 30 seconds or so. We'll see who's our mythology experts in the room. And don't worry if you aren't, because we're going to get a couple reps in and you're going to see just how great your score has improved by the second or third time that you've done the quiz. Do I have to select a theme? I think you just click like a little picture. Okay, here we go. So who was the king of the gods? Ooh, we got Clayton in the lead. Who was the goddess of love and beauty? Waiting on one. There we go. Someone's got to catch up to Clayton in one. Oh, did I just skip it on accident? Sorry. Oh, got a new leader. Deborah's got the lead. Computer's slow. Ooh, you guys are good. Should have picked a different topic. Should have picked something more obscure. Getting faster. Who kidnapped? Who's in the lead? We need someone to catch up to Tiana. Oh, got some people moving up. Got a couple more questions. You guys are good. Tiana must know this. She must teach this. Your last question. So we had Tiana in the lead. Deborah was close there behind. Let's see what our average is. So I want to point out that oftentimes we do these already, right? We do Kahoots and we do quizzes and we do all of these things, but we might not call them. We might say we're going to take a quiz versus saying like we're going to play Fast and Curious, which sounds a lot more fun to a student than we're going to take a quiz or do a Kahoot, right? Today we're going to do Fast and Curious. What do we got here? What was our, look at all you guys. What was our class accuracy? Class accuracy was 71%. So do you think that we could do it again in shorter time with better accuracy? Yes. So we got to beat 71%. And I'm going to skip it. Like I'm not going to give you the full time, so you got to answer quick because I'm going to move on to the next question quicker this time. I'm not going to give you the full 20 seconds. And we got to beat 71%. You don't teach, but you love Percy Jackson. My daughter also loves Percy Jackson. Good books. Couple more seconds. We got to beat our 71%. I'm going for time's sake. You got to be fast because I'm moving to the next question. Computer's frozen. Ooh, guys are faster. Clayton's in the lead. I'm going. Whoop. Eva took the lead. Ooh, Tiana's back in the lead. Couple more questions. We're going to beat our 71%. Hurry up. Two more questions. Final question. Beat that 71%. Ooh, Tiana's back in the lead for the second round. Nobody can catch her. Woo. Let's see, did we beat it? Were we faster and curiouser? 77%. So we went up by 5% in that faster and more curious round. Nice. Okay. So fast and curious, things that we already do. Oops, let me close this, it's making noise. Fast and curious, things that we already do, right? But we don't maybe necessarily think about the more reps that we get in. So you may have a Kahoot. I often did Kahoots as review, and I did it as a one and done. And now looking back, if I would have done that same review Kahoot every day at the end of the day, or every other day at the end of the day, my class would have mastered the vocabulary concepts probably better for the final summative assessment. So fast and curious, getting your reps in quickly, making the time short, making it a competition, engaging your students. So easy one, fast and curious. Okay, the second one, I'm going to go a little bit faster here because I'm going slow, is Frere model. So you've probably heard of the Frere square, right? Where you do like the vocabulary word and you draw a picture and the definition and whatever. So this Frere model, there are different ways that Eduprotocols have amped up the Frere model. So we use them to identify and define unfamiliar concepts or vocabulary. Students define it, describe it, provide examples, suggest non-examples, right? All those different things that we can put in those squares. And so this activity helps us activate prior knowledge and build build topics and connections to topics. So there's lots of different ways that you can use Frere beyond just vocabulary. So I have seen Frere a friend, which we're going to practice in a second. I have seen Frere the 50 states. So you have a state, you have to find the capital, you have to find the bird or the flower of that state. You have to find interesting facts about that state. Frere entire historical events, Frere characters from a book, Frere science concepts. So it doesn't always just have to be vocabulary. So again, some sentence terms on the bottom from students. They like Frere's because they get to know the word. They like Frere's because it models that they can learn a lot about a word that they don't understand. And I like Frere's models help you remember a specific word. So this one I saw, and I threw this in here last minute on Twitter, of how this teacher ramped up a Frere. So this is a 12th grade government class. So they took their vocabulary throwdown and Frere and mashed it together. So they have the same Frere on one slide. Team 1, you can see Gryffindor. Team 2, boneless pizza. And they are trying to, as quick as possible, finish the Frere. So many of these Eduprotocols are quick and fast. So there is a 5-minute timer, a 6-minute timer that students are being encouraged to quickly finish something. And a lot of them are made competition. So you can see here that instead of just your basic stuff, they threw in find a GIF example of the word. Find a image of the word, find a meme about the word, right? So getting, again, on students' levels, right? That's how they learn now, their little memes and their GIFs and their TikTok. And so this teacher made it into a competition. So I also provided in the slides, the slides that the teacher used. So if you wanted to steal these, you could change the word, right? So you can see he had teams doing judicial, legislative, and executive branches. So his tables, I don't know how they assigned it. But again, these are in here for you to steal, modify, change however you want. But this is his Word Up Wednesday, where he gives students 5 minutes in their teams. They jigsaw it out and they quickly throw up the information about the word. So Frere's don't just have to be a square box that we're doing simple things in. We can Eduprotocol up a Frere to make it more engaging. So in here, I also provided some examples. I found a foreign language Frere. I know I'm social studies, so often my examples are heavy, so I'm trying to be better about having examples for other content areas. So we've got a a foreign language example. They're Frering a word or a phrase in the foreign language. A math Frere, a Frere state, and then there's a back to school Frere where you can use Frere to get to know students. They can do a Frere about themselves, and you could have them on one collaborative slide deck. And then there's a Frere journal for this teacher that does Frere's frequently. So she created a journal for her students. What we're going to do now is Frere a friend. So I'm going to ask you to click down here on the slide. I'll also put it in the chat. It's going to ask you to force copy. It's going to ask you to make a copy of this Frere a friend. So a fun activity that you could do back to school, right? For getting students to know each other. Frere a friend. And again, these Freres, they could do this on paper. They could get a paper and do their Frere on a paper. Not all these things have to be done on technology.
Briana, it says request access.
Oh man. Failure. Okay. Let's see. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go here. Change this. Anybody with the link? Copy. I'm gonna paste it in the chat. I'm gonna change, oops. If you didn't know, up here where it says edit, you just delete this and add the word copy, and that's what makes it force copy. So I'm gonna put it in the chat, and then I'm also gonna, oops, change this link. Yeah.
Could you repeat that? When it says,
Yeah.
when it says edit, you can change that to copy and be able to
Yeah.
make your copy?
Yep. So when you change this word up here, edit, either in a Google slide or a Google Doc, and you make that word copy instead of edit, and you copy that link, that's what makes us that forced copy. So if you've ever seen, right, when a presenter or whoever has this forces you to make a copy of the document, so you don't have to go through, click the button, click make a copy, right? It just takes away that step. So quick little trick for forcing copy. So that link should work, and then it should also work on the slides again if you refresh. So you're gonna open up Frere a Friend. I'm gonna just randomly throw you into breakout rooms in pairs, and you're gonna have, I'm gonna say 6 minutes, so 3 minutes a person, to just quickly describe your friend, maybe some characteristics about them, ask them their dream pet, and what are 4 things that they like, and what are 4 things that they do not like. So you might not finish the whole thing. We're doing it fast and curious style. I'm gonna throw you into,
Are we describing each other that are in the group?
I'm gonna throw you into breakout, and you'll Frere each other. So you'll be in a pair, and you'll do each other.
Thank you.
For some reason, you still can't open the link. Let me copy this one, stick it in there. Should work.
It worked for me.
And then let's see, breakouts, randomly, rooms. You just want rooms with 2 people in them. We've got an even number in here. Beautiful. Okay, sending you off. 6 minutes. Timer. That might be the reason. Don't be ghosting me over here. Were you able to get into a room?
Yeah, but I clicked back on accident. Can you put me back on there?
At the top, it should say like go back to the breakout room, and you should be able to click like at the top of the screen. Because I see you still in there. There should be like a return to breakout. There we go.
Brianna, I don't have anyone. I think she got lost in
Uh-oh.
16.
I'm gonna throw you into a different room then. I'm gonna throw you in a room up with 2 other people. So if you hit back to breakout at the top, it should send you back. There we go. you make it there okay? Did you not have a partner? Welcome back. I know that was fast, but hopefully you were able to play around, get to know somebody, talk about Frere. I think we got almost everybody back. Cool thing about Frere is I've seen it done in lots of different ways. Like you could make it in a Google slide. I've seen people make them on a Jamboard. So each student has a different jam on the Jamboard. I've seen people do it individually, like on an individual Google slide, and then they share their Freres on a Padlet. So lots of different ways. I've even seen where they've done it on paper and then they've taken a picture of their Frere and posted it to a Padlet for a virtual kind of little gallery walk. So lots of different ways that you can use Frere, Google Slides, Jamboard, Google Drawing. I think the 50 states Frere Estate is a Google Drawing. So multiple tech options for Frering or paper options. Welcome back. Anybody want to share what they learned about their partner? Deborah?
I learned that one is a science teacher with a goatee, glasses, and he's tall. He likes coffee, and he teaches sophomores. His dream pets are his current Chihuahua and his vanilla lab. And he does not like overtime, but he does love working with students.
Nice. Anybody else? Quick share. Jennifer?
Perfect. So I'm just going to talk about my new friend, Stephanie. What I thought was kind of great about her, the 4 things that she likes or loves, or actually the 4 things that I do not like. So she likes to exercise, bake, and cook, as well as paint. And I'm like, those are just not what I like to do. So I thought that was really awesome.
Nice. Emmy, did you want to share?
Yes, my new friend is Mio. She's athletic. She's a swimmer, volleyball player, and a coach. She likes eating, sleeping, reading, and sports. She does not like horror movies, bugs, or uncertainty, and she would have a pet lion if she could.
Nice. So that is for our friend. Hopefully you could you can use it, you know, back to school. Then there's also that back to school fair. And like I said, if you're a social media user and you tweet, or you just use Twitter, like I don't tweet often, but I do go on Twitter and like search for technology related things. Like if I want to learn about an app, or if I want to see how some teacher is using an Eduprotocol, if I go in there and type Frere Eduprotocol, like Frere #Eduprotocol, I found most of these examples. So there is lots of stuff out there for you to get inspired by and modify.
Briana, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
When we went into the breakout room, neither of us could type onto the document, even when I tried to make a second copy. Was it intended to be written on? We did the speaker notes as a get around, as a workaround.
I think I just didn't put text boxes in there.
We just need to add a text box for our students. Okay.
I
Yeah,
thought about
was
that this morning, but then
another way we could have done it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would add like a text box that's maybe a different color so they know to type in there. I just made it quickly this morning. Okay, we're going to be on time here, hopefully, because we're moving on to our third Eduprotocol, which is thin slides. So thin slides, they make learning efficient. It is 1 slide, 1 word or sentence, and 1 picture. Everyone presents, often quickly, 20-second whip around. You can use it for review. You can use it to get to know you. You can use it to introduce words, right? That they have to then go Google the word and write a sentence about it and find a picture related to it. So thin slides, quick and easy. So if you've noticed anything, you've seen that these are fast because they're meant to be, you're meant to get your reps in, right? You're meant to get your reps in so that that forgetting curve isn't forgotten. So there are lots of other Eduprotocols, like I said. So thin slides can be groundwork for Great American Race, which is a really fun Eduprotocol that we're not talking about today. But if you get the books, you'll learn about Great American Race, and maybe throughout the year I'll do another one of these with 6 of my other second favorites. There's also Bookakucha, which is a good one for quick book reviews, or it could even be, I've seen people do like primary source Bookakuchas. So these are collaborative. Everybody's working on 1 slide deck. And so you are getting your speaking and listening skills because it's quick. That means it's limiting and freeing, right? You're setting a timer and they're finishing their slide. They only have so much time. You're making it competitive and quick, engaging. Everybody answers, everybody shares. So student feedback right there is you can read from a book, show your thinking and present it to people. I like thin slides because it's quick way to write my thoughts and it's not boring. It's cool because you can see other people's and see what they wrote. And then again, I have a thin slides DBQ example over there for you history people that may want to go back and look at that later for some inspiration. So thin slides can be done using lots of different tech tools. So I've seen it done with Google Slides, which is what we're going to use right now. I've seen it done with Pear Deck and Nearpod, right? Where each kid has like you know how you can make a drawing slide for each kid on Nearpod? So they have a drawing slide where they add in text and bring in images. I've also seen people do thin slides with Canva. So you're going to notice that these, oops, I'm clicking on this screen and this is not the right screen, that each of these is linked to an example. So if you're curious about Pear Deck or Nearpod thin slides, there are examples in here and Canva. They made their thin slide on a Canva and then they put it on a Google slide. So you could also make it more if you wanted to, but all of these are really meant to be fast. So we are going to practice thin slides with this back to school thin slides. So you should be able to open this, fingers crossed. If you click on back to school, it's going to open up a collaborative slide deck. You're going to have 5 minutes. Pick any slide, any blank slide, one person per slide. You're going to write one word on your slide that you associate with going back to school. Find one image to put on your slide. And then, you know, if you do that quickly and you have some more time and you want to make it pretty, feel free. We have 5 minutes to finish your back to school thin slide. So what is one word you associate with going back to school? One image you associate with either that word, or it could just be going back, something that you associate with going back to school. And then be prepared to share. So hop on your slide and write your name on it real quick. I see you guys are already on top of it, Tessa and Emmy. I'll give you like 30 seconds. Yeah.
How do I get to the slide?
If you click on, I'll put it in the chat, but if you click on where it says want to go back to school, it's linked right here, but I'll stick it in the chat also. Oh, look, and thank you for doing that. It's already in there. Perfect. Let's see, I'm going to start this timer. Your 5 minutes is starting. If you need to make a copy of a slide, because there's not enough, feel free to Control-C and Control-V a slide. You got 3.5 minutes still. Somebody might have copied yours and they're gonna delete it and make it their own. You got 1.5 minutes.
Emmy asks, why is hers on 2 slides?
I think it might have been somebody copied it to like because I didn't have enough slides for everybody. Ooh, I see some GIFs on some slides. Ooh. You got about 15 seconds. Mm. Mm. Okay. So with anything that you do, right, the first time that you introduce something, you're probably not going to give them 5 minutes. You're probably going to have to stop and show kids like how to copy a picture over, how to use the insert image search on the web, or how to find a GIF, right? You're going to need to introduce those skills if you're using Google Slides to do thin slides. But as you get more reps in, right, you will be able to spend less and less time on something like thin slides. So I could see thin slides being, you're going to make a thin slide on one thing that you learned from this unit. Go, right? One word, one sentence from this unit, find an image. I could see thin slides, you know, you're going to make a thin slide with one, you're going to create an equation for math people, right? You're going to create an equation, like a linear function. I don't even know what I'm talking about because I don't know math, but like you're going to create a word problem or an equation. So multiple ways that you can use thin slides that aren't just like back to school. Or you could get to know kids and say, thin slide, what's your favorite animal? Right? And do it quickly, 5 minutes for the first couple weeks. You're doing a thin slide and then everybody's whipping through and presenting. And then you know a little bit more about, everybody knows about a little bit more about each other. So you can use it to build your community in your classroom. So I'm going to go through just quickly here. If Emmy, you could tell us your word and your image.
Thrilled, and I hate my image, but I've got a lot of stuff going on at home. I really wanted the Avid logo, but sometimes it's hard to find that on the internet search, and I needed it saved. But I am really thrilled.
Nice. Tessa?
I'm excited, you know, and who doesn't love Carleton? So I'm looking forward to being back with my colleagues and students.
I like how some of you put your word and then you found images to make more words, because we always break the rules. Go on.
Okay. So I'm stoked, and I decided I wanted to get an image of the Dalai Lama, but then I realized I was infringing copyright, because that's also the copyright for Storrs Winery in Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
So instead, I thought, what could people be more stoked about? Free beer. Tomorrow, of course.
Nice. Also, another skill, right, that we can teach in thin slides is giving copyright, giving how to give image credit. So I appreciate that you brought that up. Mio.
Opportunity to meet the parents and then students, their siblings. So it's building connection and a community.
Nice. Oh. On.
I couldn't figure out how to get things to download. So I think the typical student, I would have been that one that you'd had to come over and explain why my images and my GIFs would not download and why I couldn't put them in. So
If I was doing this in the class for the first time, I would have definitely given more time, but since you're all adults. we're just whipping through. But are you excited for meetings? Or
No, the image I had was a bunch of people like passed out on the table.
Okay. Megan?
I am very enthusiastic and excited about getting back and reading in person.
I like your fireworks that you got going on there. Sarada?
I'm looking forward to go back to school. I'm enthusiastic. I couldn't find a better picture.
Nice. Stephanie?
I'm just excited to be back in the classroom, and there's people socializing in person, which is going to be nice.
Yes. I'm looking forward to not having to like stare in my house any longer. Aaron?
Hello, this is not a copyrighted image. This is an actual picture of me in my classroom welcoming my students.
Nice. Anne-Marie?
Well, after flying back in late last night and slightly jet lagged, I have no idea how anything works on my computer. And I'm sure that that's what we're going to get with our kids is like, wait, where's the on button?
Yeah, that's assuming that they closed off their technology over summer since they were on it so much during the school year. I can't say that for my 2 11-year-olds. Who we got here? Patty?
Okay, so I put excited, but then my image is the Saturday Night Live one. Because I feel like the first week of school is always like excited, but also a little nervous. Like I'm a bundle of nerves until I get my classroom set up. So that's where I am.
I also feel this year might be even more nerve-wracking just because of our being out, like it's like starting over kind of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kelly?
I love the exchange of ideas, and that's not just academic, but social. You know, I love just that connection with everyone, with the staff, with the students, with the parents. I miss that. I'm glad to be getting back to that.
Yes, nice. Okay, so for time's sake, I'm going to stop here. So if you didn't get to share, I'm sorry, but I wanted you to get the feel of what it would be like in the classroom, right? It's a quick thing, could be done with content, could be done not with content. You're practicing, you're listening, and you're speaking, your technology skills. You could even have students do it on paper and stand up and share their paper, right? Because I know some people are like ready to ditch technology altogether when they go back to the classroom after last year, which I don't think is the best thing to do, but I feel where you are. So there are also ways to make all of these things paper if that's where you're at. Okay, and then we're moving on. What are we at? Number 7. Random emoji, which is one of my favorites. It's a new Eduprotocol, and it's one of my favorites. So in random emoji, you're building writing skills. Kids are pursuing an idea. They are thinking and writing on demand. They are having to be articulate, and they are also having the opportunity to be creative. And what do students love, more than emojis? So for random emoji, we're going to use Socrative. And we're going to use this emoji generator called Birdseed, which the link is in the slides, and I'll also put it in the chat. So you can see some students saying like emoji power paragraph is one of my favorites because it gives you the freedom to write your own story. Yes, it's the best thing in class. This is one of my favorite things to do in class. Like kids love random emoji because it's silly and you come up with silly sentences, but you could also incorporate when you see, we're going to practice the random emoji, right? But you might say you need to add one content vocabulary word to your paragraph that we're going to write. Or you could say, using these emojis, write a word problem, right? So there's multiple ways that you can make it more academic. So in random emoji, they integrate their grammar and their sentence skills. They can provide content vocabulary, right? So you can say in your sentence, these are some of the words I want you to include. And then we're also going to look at how you can extend random emoji paragraph to nacho paragraph. And then also you're having them write on demand. It's on-demand writing, more writing practice with random emoji powered paragraph. Okay, so what you are going to do is you are going to go to my classroom in Socrative. So you're going to go to Socrative.com. I'll put it in the chat. And you're going to log in as a student. So when you log in, you're going to hit that you're logging in as a student, and it's going to ask you for the room name. And the room name is GAN 602, which is my old classroom. Then it's going to ask you for your name. Then you're going to be entered into my little room on Socrative. So I can close this. I can close this one. So when you enter, you're going to find a little box like this that just says emoji paragraph. So you just leave that up on the screen. You're going to want to see, you're going to want to be able to get to this, and you're going to want to be able to see the emojis that I'm going to put up. Somebody's in the hub. Hold on a second.
Bobby, can you hear me now? Okay, I'm trying to join this session.
I'm just going to leave it. Jen's in there. Okay. We got in? Everybody in? Oh man, look at it. It's a cigarette because I didn't freaking change it. So this website called Birdseed is where you can find these random emojis, but there is a setting so that it doesn't have inappropriate emojis like cigarettes. Now what happened? There is a way to do it, which I'll have to look. But there is a way to not have inappropriate emojis on there. So you're going to have your, goodness. What's happening here? I want to go to my, logged me out. I'm going to throw an emoji up, a random emoji. You're going to write a sentence about that random emoji. So our first emoji is this. So in your little box, you're not going to hit submit. You're not going to hit submit. You're just going to write one sentence that has to do something about this emoji. Whatever you think this emoji is, you're trying to kind of write a story. So one sentence, don't hit submit. Got too many things open. Okay. So don't hit submit yet. You're writing one sentence about this emoji. Write it in the Socrative box. So then your next emoji, and then, whoop, this is your next sentence. So you're incorporating these emojis. What's happening? What's your story?
Patricia says she doesn't see an emoji. It's on the screen that she's presenting, Patricia.
Oh, okay.
Don't submit your answer yet, because I'm going to give you 3 or 4, and you're going to write 3 or 4 sentences about those 3 or 4 emojis. Then you're going to submit your emoji power paragraph. That's okay.
Are they supposed to be related?
You're writing kind of a story, so you want to relate them. So like if this emoji's blowing off steam, how does he do that? Or what is he doing? Or who came into the room or something. And you're not submitting yet. You're just, so you should have 2 sentences now. And then, whoop. I'm going to give you one more emoji. So you should have 4 sentences telling a story about these emojis as they come.
I can't tell what that third one is.
It's like a water, like a no water, or it's like a faucet with a line through it. So I'm not sure if it exactly what it means. So interpret.
Thank you.
So once you got your 4 sentences, now you're going to hit submit. So on my Socrative here, I'm seeing, I have it not showing names because I don't want to see people's, I don't want to show their names, right, for whose paragraph it is. Depending on the culture in your classroom, right, you might not be comfortable showing names. So you can have it so it's not showing names. But I can have it so it's showing answers, but we don't know whose is whose. So when I need to blow off steam, I listen to music. My favorite musician is Brandon Urie from Panic at the Disco. He puts on an amazing concert and doesn't even stop for water, for a water break. When I went to see his concert, we drove home singing his songs the entire way. Running to the bathroom, I realized halfway there, I forgot my keys. Fortunately, Miss Arenas was playing his guitar, and hearing his music calmed me down. Unfortunately, the water was turned off and I couldn't wash my hands. Tantrums should never be tolerated. Oops, it moved. Because they teach unaccountability. They are used by an individual, so one plays at their tune. They are like poison in waters of social interaction. They carry them around everywhere in life. So you can see, right? We have all these on demand. Everybody ran with it the way they wanted to run with it. So random emoji power paragraph. You could ask them to include certain content vocabulary with the emojis. You could ask them to, you could just do it silly in the beginning of the class period, right? Because maybe you don't want to start academic. Maybe you just want to start, let's get our brain going. Let's get back into writing and thinking. So we're just going to write some silly paragraphs. And every time you do it, you're going to get random emojis. And like I said, there is a way to not have inappropriate emojis like cigarettes, which I'll have to look for. But I know there is a way. So I'm furious. I went to a guitar lesson and my teacher told me I had no music talent. I tried to find water to calm down myself, but I couldn't find it. And my parents could not pick me up. Had a bad day. So that is random power emoji. Like I said too, I've seen teachers have students, maybe they just put 2 emojis up and they have them write a word problem for you math folks. So random power emoji can also be turned into what we call nacho paragraph because it's not yo paragraph. Get it? Funny. So this is an example from a teacher that uses Eduprotocols a lot. And so what she does is she has them take a screenshot or a snipping of the emojis, and then they copy and paste either their original paragraph or somebody else's paragraph, because I mean, technically it's supposed to not be yo paragraph. So I might go in here and say, frustrated with all these CDC guideline changes, I use my guitar to stay calm through these hard times. As the drought continues, we are not allowed to use the water for my plants. Instead, I take a taxi to the airport to get away. I might say, everybody's going to copy that paragraph. We don't know whose it is because I haven't shown you the names. And then we are going to paste it into our emoji prompt nacho paragraph, and we're going to revise it. And you might have different things that you want them to revise. I've seen where teachers choose one that may be like a different tense, and they ask students to put it in a different tense. Maybe it's in present and they ask them to put it in past tense. Or maybe it's like really negative and they tell students to turn it into a positive story. So it's just taking another paragraph that's nacho paragraph that the teacher chose, and then giving them some things that you'd like them to revise in that paragraph, and then they're writing a new paragraph. You might even be having them, I'm thinking claim evidence reason. So we're going to make claim evidence reason on this emoji paragraph. So then you might pick one that maybe is not done well and ask students to revise it to make sure that it has claim evidence and reason. So in this example, the teacher says to rewrite it, make sure that one sentence begins with a prepositional phrase. One sentence begins with an adverb, right? So here, this teacher is clearly focusing on grammar. But your rubric in editing could focus on some other skill that you're trying to teach in the classroom. But I will tell you that kids love this freaking emoji prompt. Like they think it's the most funny thing and they come up with the most funny paragraphs. And then you can, like I said, you can keep adding, like there's a chicken, right? So it just can get sillier. And if you have them, you could give them, like I said, a list of 5 vocabulary words and you want them to include those, which could then get even funnier because it's going with the emojis. Then you can also start over and do it again, right? Some might say this is a wolf and some might say it's dog. And you just let the stories go. So that is emoji power paragraph. And then the extension is the nacho paragraph. And it's one of my favorite Eduprotocols. So you could use other things than Socrative, right? If you're a Nearpod person, you could have them be writing their answers on a Nearpod slide. You could be having them write it on pencil and paper. I just use Socrative because I like that it shows me them this way in a big line. And Socrative is so easy that I can log in. I can say, okay, we have some extra time. We're going to do a random power emoji paragraph, but I haven't planned anything yet. I can quickly log in. I can quickly go short answer. Would you like to stop a current activity and start a new one? Yes. And then I can write my question. I can call it emoji paragraph. I can allow unlimited responders or require student names and just start it. Now it's there for the kids. So like it's something that I can do if I see that I need to check for understanding really quickly. That's one way that Socrative is good, is that I can just quickly do this quick answer, quick question, and I can just throw it into anything that I'm doing. I don't necessarily have to have it planned out because it's so easy to just start a response box. Okay, what are we at? Woo! We got 2 more to do. Okay. I know we're flying through, but I don't want to keep you longer than I have to. So we got 2 more. 8 parts. So 8 parts. Have you ever had to underline a noun once and a verb twice in your adult life? No. So let's stop teaching grammar in isolation of writing. So 8 parts gives kids a palette to let them paint with their words. So 8 parts. You have all 8 parts of speech. 1 paragraph. You might give them something that is a picture. It might be a meme or a GIF. It could be in your content area about what you're learning. And then you could do this 3 to 4 times a week per week for 20 to 25 reps. So they're getting 8 parts of speech every week, all week, and they're writing a paragraph and they're using a funny image to do it. Right? So we're engaging them and we're getting our reps in. This is my favorite thing about Eduprotocols is they're engaging, they're quick, and we can do them over and over and over and over. So by the end of the year, they better know those 8 parts of speech. So 8 parts of speech. I didn't want people to think, oh, this is English, right? So yes, there is grammar involved, but here you can see, here's some 8 parts of speech that people used primary sources. So you're using, so it's maybe not 8 parts of speech, maybe it's the 8 parts of a primary source that you want them to know by the end of the year, right? Maybe it's not 8 parts, maybe it's 4 parts, right? You can modify this to however you need. And for math, there's also math 8 parts, math 8 parts. So I thought this was cool. Like in the beginning of class, you give them a number and they have to find the decimal to the tenths, the whole number. I don't even know what these things mean. The whole number times 1/10. Division toolbox, prime factor. So they're practicing all these little math pieces quickly with 1 number. So you could have a number of the day or a number of the week, and they're all working to solve it, right? So then it ends up looking something like this. They're factoring out, they're subtracting the decimal. All these mathy things that I don't understand, but math teachers will. So they get their reps in quickly and they can practice. I've seen people do math parts on literary. So who's the protagonist? Who's the antagonist? So it might not be just 8 parts speech grammar. It could be 8 parts claim, 3 parts claim evidence reason. Like you could come up with your own parts. But the point is that it's repetitive and they're doing it over and over and over. And I see that Renata has her hand raised. Do you have a question? Maybe it was an accident. Okay, well, if you do have a question, feel free to unmute and ask. So since we don't have much time, I'm just going to throw this template up here. So this is just, this one is the 8 parts of speech, right? Verbs, adverbs, prepositions, interjections, nouns, adjectives, conjunctions, pronouns, simile. So you could put a GIF or a funny picture in the middle, right? And you're just having students, they're coming up with the different pieces about the image, and then they're able to write their paragraph. So I might ask, what are 3 verbs about this image? So in chat, tell me, what are 3 verbs? Tell me some verbs about this image. And I don't know if you've ever seen this guy, but it's pretty funny. He his wife asked, like, how's the baby? And he uses Photoshop to like take pictures and send them to his wife about how's the baby. Right, so the kid is going through. I see Kelly saying flying, running, chasing. You could even have one student fill this out and then swap, and then they have to use what that student wrote to write their paragraph. Let's see, what about some nouns? One and one proper. Baby, father, seagull. So I know we're running out of time, and I didn't plan a lot for 8 parts, but I wanted to show you what it might look like, right? You could do it as an entire class. You could do it in pairs, individually. Ultimately, they're filling it out, and then they're able to write a paragraph with the words that they created about the image. So then they're going to use all these, or most of them, to write a word or write a paragraph about the image. So see, you're coming up with lots of things. Junior, baby, dad, beach. Show you some of these. This one I found at Q, and I thought it was really cool because it's called DBQ for you history people. So your 8 parts, your DBQ template, they're writing a 3-word summary. They're finding evidence about this image, right? And then they're ultimately going to be able to write a short DBQ paragraph. So these Eduprotocols are meant to be done over and over and over, right? So they're getting their reps in. So throughout your whole year, you would be doing DBQ, right? And then by the end of it, they'd be really good at it because they would have been doing it and doing it on the template. And I guarantee that their paragraphs would be getting better and better and better because they're doing more and more reps. Right? Same here with the book one, central idea, main point. Same with the math ones. Also for you math people, I threw in here these folders that I found on Twitter. There's a middle school and a high school folder, and in them has treasures for you of examples that you can modify, copy, and use different ways that middle school and high school teachers have used 8 parts for math. In the math world, this lady, Lisa Nowakowski, she's the Eduprotocol math person. She's the one, I think, that wrote the Eduprotocol math book. Math reps, I think is what they call it. So there are always ways to put it into your content with a little creativity. And there is some examples for you. There's also a folder of funny pictures, because you could also just do it to start your day. Like, let's be silly and write about these funny pictures, and we're getting our writing skills in. We're writing, we're writing, we're writing. Okay. Whew, we got 30 minutes. We got one more. My other favorite is called the cyber sandwich. And then it'll be lunchtime, so you'll be able to go eat a real sandwich. So do your students read? Do they annotate? Do they summarize on a daily basis? Right? Often we think that's going to take a long time. But with the cyber sandwich, it is fast, it is quick, faster or quicker. We could also, you could also make things take longer. But they could do cyber sandwiches on the daily. They're reading or listening, they're annotating, they're summarizing. So in a cyber sandwich, I'm going to give you lots of templates because I've done entire presentations on cyber sandwich. They read and annotate for 10 or so minutes, right? Maybe you give them a primary source. Maybe you give them a news article. Maybe you give them any kind of, couple 1 to 2 page document. Maybe cyber sandwich, I've even seen political cartoons or images. So they're reading individually or looking at something or listening to a podcast, and then they are going to annotate for 10 minutes, and they are going to write their information on a slide or on a piece of paper. Then they're going to meet with their partner, and they're going to share what they wrote about that podcast or that reading or that political cartoon, and they're going to basically create a 3-column chart. My notes, your notes, our notes that we got together, right? Because we deepened each other's thinking, or you made me think of this, or we had these things in common, or you said that and I didn't. So they're coming up with a middle column that has a combination of their discussion that they talked about. Then they're going to go separate, now that they've done it, talked about it on their own and together, and they're going to summarize the reading. They're going to write their paragraph. They're going to make their claim, evidence, reason. So again, chew on this, and then I'm going to show you some examples. Like I said, it can be linked to readings, to websites, newspaper articles, primary sources. It could be a section of the textbook. They could watch a video, Khan Academy, YouTube, news sources, Edpuzzle. They could listen to podcasts, ListenWise. The National Archives has lots of, they could be listening to a speech. Visuals, it could be math problems. They could be solving a math problem and then coming together and talking about the steps that they used to solve it, and then going and writing or furthering how they solved it. Political cartoons, VR, you could use the VR in Nearpod. Infographics, photos, paintings. They could be looking at a painting and coming up with information, like if you're teaching art, information about that painting, and then they're going to come together and talk about what they saw in that painting to deepen their understanding. So there's lots of takes on the cyber sandwich. There is the classic sandwich, there is the craft sandwich, and then there is what some people call the taco. So again, these are all links to templates for you to use. Let me just open up this one, the classic sandwich. This one, they've made a template in Google, so you can easily just make it a template, but you'll see here, if there's 2 people in your group, use these slides. Student 1 takes their notes on this slide. You could also do these on Nearpod. Student 2 takes their notes on this slide, 10 minutes. Then they come together, they share what they did, they share what they did, they share what they both have in common or what they learned from each other. Then they separate again. Student 1 writes their paragraph about whatever it is. Student 2 writes their paragraph about whatever it is. They've also made it, if you have 3 people, because you always have that class that has the uneven number and you have to have a group of 3. So if there are 3 people in your group, they have these slides that you can use or get inspiration from. So again, student notes for each student, student 1, student 2, student 3, things they all have. So that's when they get together to discuss whatever it is that they took notes about, and then their individual writing samples. So that is the classic, and that is a template in Google Slides that you are welcome to take. It's from the Eduprotocol website. Let's look at this one, and then we're going to practice a cyber sandwich, and then we'll be like, we're making good timing. So here is an example. I'm sorry, again, social studies example. So revolution, how can changing ideals lead to protest? The 2 people or the 3 people put their names in the bottom of the slides. They read this article. It's about protests in Hong Kong from News ELA. They take their notes. Same for 2. You might even have them read different articles. This one, they're reading different articles. Maybe that's what makes it craft sandwich. This person's reading another thing about a revolution in the American Revolution. So they're reading 2 different articles about 2 different revolutions. Then they're going to come together, all 3 of them, and talk about the 3 different articles. They're going to say, in my article, it talked about this. And then they're going to find commonalities about revolution. You might give them 3 different paintings, 3 different political cartoons, 3 different equations. Right? The point is that they're doing it on their own, and then they're coming back together to collaborate on the things that they all found. And then they're able to write their paragraph. So how can changing ideals lead to protest? And then you can see this teacher has sentence frames linked up here, which is nice. Okay, so we are going to do it with this funny little video. So I would like you right now to open up right here where it says click here. I'm going to stick it in the chat. It's going to force copy. Should. Fingers crossed that it works. You're going to watch this video, or I'm going to watch it. We're all going to watch it together. On here, you're going to claim your slide. Oh, maybe it doesn't force copy. It should just be editable. That's right. So we're going to do a cyber sandwich for this video called Be More Dog. So you're going to come in here and claim your slide. As you're watching the video, you're going to write some notes about the video. When the video is over and you have your notes, I'm going to throw you back into breakout rooms for you to discuss your notes. And then you're going to write your paragraph based on what you did and what, oh, it's view only. Share. Change. Editor. Anyone done? Okay, if you refresh it, it should be good now. So claim your slide. If you need more, there's 31. There's 33 of us in here. I'll make some more real quick. There we go. Claim your slide, write your name. As you're watching the video, take some notes down. You could write those notes on paper and then copy them into this later if you'd like to. Perfectly fine. You could have students just do it on paper and then go sit with their partner. So we're going to practice a very simple cyber sandwich. Close this, close this, close this. You ready for the video? Okay, here we go. Be more dog.
I used to pitch.
Can you hear
Every
it?
day the same. I'd be loose till lunch, then coldly indifferent after. To me, everything was just, yeah. Then it hit me. Why be so kept? Why not be a bit more dog? I mean, look at the world today. It's amazing. Running, amazing. Chasing cars, amazing. Sticks, amazing. Carpe diem. It means grab the frisbee. Maybe we should all be a bit more dog. Be more dog. Potent.
Just something silly, non-academic, quick. So take a couple notes about how you can be more dog. Feel free to mute and watch the video again if you couldn't hear it very well. It's only like 30 seconds. If you refresh, Mario, it should be editable now. I'm gonna give you like 3 minutes, and then I'm gonna throw you in breakout rooms to share how to be more dog. Mario. Okay. I'm gonna set up these breakout rooms while you're be like Kelly. Claim your slide. Write a couple reasons why you should be more dog. Or why the cat should be more dog. Breakout rooms. I'm going to reset them. I don't want you to be with the same people.
Brianna, I have right on it. It says view only for me. How do I force it again?
It should, if you refresh, it should be editable. So just hit the refresh.
Okay, I'll try it. Thank you.
It should be editable by anybody that has the link. And I've got to have one group of 3 here because we got uneven numbers. So one more minute or so to write about being more dog. Everybody's down here now. Okay, I'm going to open up the breakout rooms. You've got 4 minutes. So in that 4 minutes, you're going to go share with your partner, 2 minutes each or so. Maybe I'll give you less than 4 minutes. I'm going to give you 3 minutes. So you have a minute and a half. Because I don't want to run out of time. I want to be able to get to the other stuff, the closing stuff. Share with your partner what they felt it meant to be more dog and what you felt it meant to be more dog. And then we'll come back. So don't write your paragraph. Just share with each other and maybe take some notes on your slide if you want to remember some things they said about it that you didn't think or notice. All good. It's okay. I can always move people if you're in a room, people that are in rooms by themselves. Themselves. Welcome back. I know that was quick and dirty. Normally you would spend more time. Hopefully you learned something about how to be more dog from your partner, or maybe you were like, I don't want to be more dog. Like, like Patty Lambert, you want to be more cat.
Yeah, dogs are dirty.
My dogs are dirty.
Your dogs are nice. I like dogs.
I have dogs and cats. I say be more pet.
There you go. We all know that cats are pretty dirty too.
Welcome back. Okay. We only have 15 minutes left together and I didn't even give you a break. So hopefully you used it if you needed to. And I threw a lot of things at you really, really fast. So I would say that, so you would normally read, annotate, meet with your partner for more than 3 minutes, talk about what you learned and what they learned and take some notes. And then you would go back and you would write your paragraph. So I'm not going to ask you to write a paragraph about be more dog, but I hope that you get the gist of a cyber sandwich, right? You're taking, you know, you're the buns and the content in the middle is the sandwich parts, and you're putting them together to write your perfect cyber sandwich paragraph. So I briefly want to, well, first, you know what I want to do? I'm going to start a poll asking you which of our 6, and I got it ready. Which Eduprotocol today was your favorite? We talked about 6 of them. If you were to go back to the classroom, haha, just kidding. You're going back to the classroom in a couple weeks. When you do, which Eduprotocol would you want to try first? Right. You probably want to try all of them. I know. But if you had to just pick one to focus on, Fast and Curious, Frere, oh, I put thin slides, emoji paragraph, 8 parts, cyber sandwich. We got Frere in the lead.
If you click on your screen on the lower right, there's the shapes. If you click on that, you'll be able to answer the poll.
Yes, thank you. And it's not thing slides, it's thin slides. But I can't edit it now, so here we are. Fast and Curious, Frere, thin slides, emoji paragraph. Nobody's gonna do 8 parts or cyber sandwich. And the good thing is I worked for you. So if you want to try any of these and you're nervous or you want help or you want to brainstorm, you have, free support. Even if I leave, you can always reach out. We got lots of Fast and Curious. So I hope you noticed that, right? Like we talked about earlier, all of these are meant to be have a formative form of assessment somewhere, right? You got a paragraph in your cyber sandwich. You got all these 8 parts. You got a paragraph in your emoji. You got thin slides. You might ask them about content. You could Frere. You got Fast and Curious. So everything is a formative assessment. Everything that we did, I could have provided you with immediate feedback. And everything that I did, we could have done throughout the week. We could have repeated it and got our reps in. Where was I? So now I'm going to provide you with some resources in these final slides. And also just wanted to point out that Eduprotocols are based in good pedagogy, powerful pedagogy through our Eduprotocols. We didn't go over all of these. All of these are examples of different ones. So there's Sketch and Tell, Mini Report, and Cyber Sandwich. All of those can be informative, writing informative paragraphs. Hero's Journey, Random Emoji, Bookakucha, Narrative, writing narrative paragraphs. 8-part Cyber Sandwich, Debate It, Opinion, Argumentative. 8 parts Primary Source, Thin Slides, Debate It, DBQ, right? So your Claim, Evidence, Reason. Iron Chef, which is another one of my favorites. Number Mania, Great American Race, Infographic, right? So you can practice all forms of writing or speaking via these Eduprotocols. And also you can plan the perfect week using just these Eduprotocols. And I think if you just, sometimes, what is it, like the power of positive thinking, or like when you change the way that you think about something or say something, it changes how you think about it. So you might say, we're going to take a quiz today. And the kids are like, ugh, quiz, not another quiz. But if you say Fast and Curious, get your Chromebooks out, load into the thing, we're doing Fast and Curious, they're going to be like, oh, Fast and Curious, that's fun, right? Or if you say, today, we're going to write a paragraph, they're going to be like, oh my God, this is math. We don't write in math. But if you said, today, we're going to do emoji paragraph, emoji math paragraph, they're going to be like, well, that sounds fun, right? So just the way that you say something can change the entire engagement of your class. You say, we're gonna work in pairs to write a paragraph, they're like, ew, gross. But if you say, ready for a cyber sandwich, like they're gonna be like, ooh, what's that? And as you keep doing these things, they're gonna know, okay, cyber sandwich, I know exactly what this is. We've done this for months, right? Okay, we're gonna do thin slides. They're like, oh, I know what that is. So if you just repetition, you're gonna improve your scores, guaranteed. You're gonna improve just the learning in your classroom and the engagement. So this came from this teacher, Kim Vogue, who's one of the Eduprotocol goddesses. I don't know. She does all of these Eduprotocol stuff. She didn't write the book, but she could have, or could write a follow-up. So she talks about how she plans, I think she teaches 5th grade. So she talks about how she plans her day, or how she plans. So for math, she's like, we're gonna do math reps and then a quizzes. We're gonna do a flip grid, and we're gonna do a word of the day or problem of the day Google form, Khan Academy quizzes, right? So she shows how you can just throw your, right? You can lesson plan super easy with all of these Eduprotocols. And then you have like templates, so you're just modifying, right? English language arts. Monday, I'm gonna do a fast and curious. We're gonna read a passage and do a book of Kucha about it, and then we're gonna do it 8 parts. We're gonna do fast and curious, and we're gonna read a passage and Frere a character. So if you think about these just as layering into your lessons, it can make your lesson planning a lot easier, which is the point I was trying to make. And so she gives examples for English language arts, for social studies, and also more examples. Feel free to click around when you have some time and see more of her examples. Science. And then lastly, this I would highly suggest if you're a Facebook person. This is her, she has a Facebook group called Empower Adventure. So often, a lot of these examples, I went on that Facebook group and I searched cyber sandwich, and I found, like, because I was trying to find examples that weren't just social studies. So if you are someone that joins educational groups on your Facebook, I would highly suggest joining this one. It's a good one. She also has created these documents which align the Eduprotocols to content standards. So she has in here like anchor standards and how they're aligned to different Eduprotocols. And she's done the same for UDL. So if you plan with UDL in mind, she has also how Eduprotocols can be UDL'd. And that's what she's presenting on that at Q. And I hope that it's recorded and put somewhere because I would like to watch it. There's also this cool fake texting app. You could have students send fake text messages. Like maybe you do in 8 parts and you have them send their 3-word sentence via fake text. So there's just some good resources here, more templates, HyperDoc builders, the Eduprotocol website, which also has more templates and more protocols, because like I said, we only talked about 6 and there are many. And in our little thing, what does it say? We have the most votes for fast and curious. Nobody wants to do 8 parts or cyber sandwich. Everybody's ready to go to lunch and eat their cyber sandwich. So again, thank you to everybody who provided these resources on the internet that I found. I wanted to give a shout out. And then I will, here is the feedback, and I will paste the slides in there again. And then remember that all the presenters that didn't forget to record their sessions will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, hopefully by the end of next week. And the resources from their presentations will also be in the description of the YouTube channel. So be on the lookout for our Check This Out newsletter, because we'll say, remember, everything's on the YouTube channel. Check out the playlist. And as always, you can contact me via email. You can find me on Twitter. And please provide feedback. That was a lot. Hopefully you got something. And hopefully you enjoy the rest of the day. And thank you for coming this week. Thank you all. I'm going to stop the recording. Oop, not a whiteboard.